So, a couple of days ago, I did a video on Batman Arkham Asylum's boss fights rankings. Now, since that video, with all the editing and having to post it, etc., I didn't really have much time to play Batman Arkham City, and in the spare time I had now since that video was published, I have played Batman Arkham City. I did it on stream, which was a bit different to how I did Arkham Asylum, because I just played that on my own, which my Twitch is in the description. Please go follow me. And I thought, in that time of playing, why don't I record the main boss fights and do another rankings video. This video is purely based on the main stories, boss fights, not the side quests, because there are too many, unlike Arkham Asylum, but I'm not doing Riddler's 700,000 trophies and riddles just to do his boss fight, which isn't even a boss fight. So, I will be ranking Batman Arkham City's boss fights. Now, given I counted correctly, there are precisely 7 boss fights in the main story, so excluding side quests, there are 7 main boss fights, and I am going to be ranked, which is actually less, by the way, than Arkham Asylum. So, in that matter, once again, just like the last video, I will be ranking these from 7th to 1st, worst to best, and explaining in detail why.
Just you and me left! The Bat versus the Bird!
Coming in at number 7 has to be Penguin. I just can't explain how much I dislike his boss fight. Literally all you have to do is run around his, I don't know, rockets, I guess, and that's it. And then you punch him a couple times, throw him over your shoulder, he's down. That's the boss fight. That's it. That is literally Penguin's part of the game. So, not much more to say apart from that. He's in number 7.
You're forcing me to bring out the big guns!
Coming in at number 6 is what seems to be the unfinished Titan formula again, that unfortunately some of these other villains get their hands on. Now, nothing too new about these Titans from the Asylum, besides the fact that now when they charge at you, you don't throw a batarang. Now you have to get up close and stun them with your cape and perform a beatdown. Not too different from the Titans from the Asylum. You can do a little bit extra, however. Once on the back of the Titan, just like you could in Asylum, you can use the Titan to attack the thugs that are in the room with you. You can also now use a Titan charge, which is when the Titans run at you, and you can use a Titan shockwave, which is when the Titan punches the ground and causes a massive shockwave. It's in the name. Not too much more exciting, but I do like that they added everything that the Titan has and you can now use it to your disposal, and it does make the Titans even more unique. However, as this game gets on, and it's a much better game than the Asylum, it would have been higher in Arkham Asylum, considering that in Arkham Asylum you can't use the abilities that they give you in this game. If this Titan was in that ranking video, it would have been much higher because of its abilities. But since the boss fights are 10 times better in this game and outshine the Titans, unfortunately once again, the Titans are sat at a higher spot, leaving the Titans in the number 6 spot.
Surprise, B-Man! Meet Mr. Hammer. He's gonna teach you some manners.
I shall slice you into pieces, American.
Coming in at number 5 are both the Abramovich twins. Now, quite literally being past conjoined twins, they now are against each other fighting for 2 different gangs, most notably the Jokers and the Penguins. Being twins, they both come from Russia, and representing their country, Joker's Abramovich twin uses a hammer, while Penguin's uses a sickle. Being completely different from what we usually see in these games, I do like the fight style and the idea of having one big brute, meanwhile you fight thugs. Doing quite a lot of damage also helps because it keeps you on your toes, assuring that you don't sit in the way of the hammer or the sickle. However, in saying this, the reason they're in number 5 is the lack of challenge they give, if I could say that. Only being able to swing around with one arm, all you really have to do is either stun them using your cape 3 times, or jump behind them and attack them from behind. It's really not too tricky, and they aren't that beefy, giving not so much of a challenge, but they are in the spot they are because of the style and the uniqueness they bring. So for uniqueness and style, they deserve the number 5 spot, definitely.
Oh, you're asking for it now. Let's see how much that ugly son of a bitch can take.
Coming in at number 4 is the Solomon Grundy boss fight. Now, this is one of my favourites because the character is just so unique and it's such a cool setting. And quite honestly, the only thing I'd have to say bad about it is the fact that it's so short. I love the type of weapon he uses and the different moves he uses with those weapons against us and how we have to counter it. And considering the type of weapon he uses and all that we have to avoid, trying to destroy whatever recharges him or causes him to get more angry on the floor with our explosive gel quite clearly just makes it more fun. It is not the best boss fight by miles, considering that he kind of copies traits of another character that I am going to mention pretty soon in terms of boss fights, but it's not the worst, I must say, and if he carries traits, it's not like every other boss fight does. What I find more incredible is that Batman doesn't necessarily find this as killing, just destroying what was already dead, as Solomon Grundy is only getting reanimated due to the electricity that Penguin uses on him to reanimate him. I remember when I was quite young playing this for the first time, I didn't really know how to avoid or how to beat him. So knowing now, as I get older, I take more appreciation, and to be honest, as much as I didn't like Solomon Grundy in the past, I appreciate the character and the boss fight a lot more now, and that is why he is deserving of the number 4 spot.
Now, only one of us can leave this chamber alive. We'll see about that.
Coming in at number 3 is Ra's al Ghul's boss fight. Now, quite honestly, the introduction to the boss fight always gives me goosebumps. That's just all the time. Some of you may disagree, and quite frankly, coming to the top 3, it's harder to pick a winner because I love all 3 of these boss fights just as equally, but I need to narrow it down and explain why, and these are the reasons why I believe Ra's al Ghul is deserving of number 3. One of the big reasons he is in number 3 is the atmosphere and the tone that it sets when you are fighting him. Just being in his own realm and in the Lazarus Pit just sets, like I said, a massive tone in the boss fight. And atmosphere to me is really important in a boss fight because it feels immersive when you are fighting them. The idea that you fight a bunch of ninjas that aren't necessarily humans, just one Ra's al Ghul split into many others, it's really interesting, and just the design of the massive Ra's al Ghul that sits in the middle of the combat zone is just immaculate. Besides atmosphere, tone and design, the only issue I have with this boss fight, and it's something that is a pet peeve of mine, is repetitiveness. One thing that is a pet peeve of mine and that I personally don't like in boss fights is repetitiveness, and Ra's al Ghul's boss fight is an exact reflection. Considering all it is a giant Ra's al Ghul in the middle and you have to shoot shock charges in the middle. It's the exact same in both sequences, and quite honestly for me that ruins boss fights. Not much more to say. It's just repetitiveness that I believe ruins the boss fight and doesn't deserve any higher on my ranking, but the atmosphere, the design and the tone it sets in the boss fight makes up for it, and that is where I believe it deserves the number 3 spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, for one night only, standing in for yours truly, I'm doing a damn fine job of it. I give you Clayface.
Coming in at number 2 is none other than Clayface. Now the reason Clayface is in number 2 is the atmosphere, and the setting and the design. Knowing that Carlos, when he was human, wanted to be an actor, quite honestly sets the tone and the mood, and it just shows on the opportunities he's missed out on when he was a human, turning into Clayface now. Besides atmosphere, tone, and design, as always, I do like the combat that you get into with him. Having to freeze him with freeze grenades, as he is made of clay, really is different because you don't usually have to freeze your enemies. The different kinds of attacks he gets you with as well, just for example, when he turns into a ball and rolls at you, you have to make sure he hits the bombs that are set in each corner of the area. Eventually, when you have defeated him, you do end up in another section of the map, which makes the boss fight even more interesting. Being in a different area just makes it wow, you just want to keep going and you never lose interest. The idea when you're in the other area, however, you are not fighting him anymore, you are fighting his little minions that he makes from himself, using a sword, which is pretty cool. It's a different combat style for us, but the idea that it's only on clay does not satisfy me. Eventually, once you have defeated him, the ending is slightly anticlimactic with him, as all you do is throw him in the Lazarus pit and he dissolves and dies. Nonetheless, the atmosphere, the combat style, and the uniqueness of this boss fight really makes up for it, and knowing that he is such an important asset in the game, someone who holds the cure and portrays a healthy Joker for a majority of the game, is what also makes me really enjoy playing against this character, and that is why he is deserving of the number 2 spot.
You don't want to do this, Freeze.
Oh, I believe I do. You will bring me Nora, or you will die.
As controversial as this may be, coming in at number 1 is the Mr. Freeze boss fight. Need I say more about this boss fight? The atmosphere and the idea that he has taken over the entire of a police building and turned it into his home, a world full of ice essentially. Once again, the atmosphere, tone and design just makes up for all of it. Another key factor in this boss fight that particularly makes me really enjoy it is how he deals with your attacks. Mr. Freeze in this game is, in my opinion, as unique as it gets, as every attack you use on him, no matter what it is, whether it's you drop from attack, you use a floor grate, or you use explosive gel on an explosive wall, he will learn from that and freeze it. Therefore, you cannot use those things again. The way he restricts you from any form of attack really has you put your thinking cap on and wondering what else can you do in order to defeat him. And there is nothing to worry about, considering that whatever you have used that you no longer can, there are plenty and plenty of other ways to get to him and attack him. The idea that the game gets you thinking and wondering which other ways there are that you've learnt over the last 2 Batman games to defeat someone like him really impresses me, and quite honestly, it's smart. Being that this is the only game out of the 2 I have now made, it is the only game to have had you thinking and not relying on Batman, but you the player on how to defeat the enemy. The style of uniqueness, the way of defeating him, and just the overall area and atmosphere, and the way that it also leads on to the story, as without Mr. Freeze there would have been no cure to begin with, really just does it for me. It's an 100%, and over the 2 games we've played so far, there is no other boss fight I ever enjoyed in any of the Batman games that I have mentioned so far like this one. So, being how this is the only boss fight that has ticked all of the boxes, in terms of atmosphere, in terms of design, in terms of tone, combat, uniqueness, that really is why Mr. Freeze is in my number 1 spot. And folks, there we have it. That is the ranking of my Batman Arkham City boss fights. Now, once again, They were, like I said at the beginning of this video, only the main boss fights. If you guys are interested in all of the rankings, including the side boss fights, then please do leave a comment telling me that you would like that video, and I will make it happen. Like the last video, all of these are purely subjected to my opinions, so you may not agree. But quite honestly, I have 5 checkboxes that I like to tick off, and if any of the boss fights tick all of them off, then that is why they either are the worst or the best. If you guys did enjoy, please do leave a like, as these are really fun to make. I love going through the games again and playing them all from start to finish, and just recording them as a whole just is so much fun. That will be all from me, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.